Us via in person, all right, socially distanced, and also via our district's YouTube channel. During the public forums, you may email jnischel, JNEISCHEL @depewschools.org to address the Board of Education during any of our two public forums. Brings us first to the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please stand, remove your hats if you have one, and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. It's always nice to say that. Jessica, may I have a roll call of trustees, please?
Trustee Bush.
Here.
Trustee Duty.
Excused.
Trustee Lamarco.
Here.
Trustee Law.
Here.
President Schiff.
Here.
Trustee Spencer.
Here.
Trustee Young.
Here.
6 present, 1 excused, 0 absent.
Excellent. May I now have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. First order of business tonight are our building updates, which we'd like to do every time we meet. We'll start with the high school, Mr. Lupini, who's with us this evening.
He looks tall over there. Yeah, it's like 6 inches.
For Depew High School.
For Depew High School, I would like to introduce freshman Julie Durham.
Hello, my name is Julie Durham, and I will be delivering the high school's building updates for today's meeting. Regarding this past December, on the 22nd, the music department released a holiday video highlighting student musicians. Moving on to January, on the 6th, the Sources of Strength recruitment and training occurred. Starting on the 11th and continuing until the 22nd, the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy is conducting their collection for nurses and nurses' aides at the Garden Gate Nursing Home Facility. As of the 18th, the bowling and swimming seasons have begun. On the dates of the 26th through the 29th, the Regents midterm exam week was canceled and the regular hybrid schedule will continue as normal. Also to be noted, senior Logan Schwartz was one of the 25 students selected to be a member of the Great American Rivalry Series Scholar Athlete Hall of Fame team. For the month of February, we currently have one event, that of which being the virtual freshman orientation on the 3rd. Thank you. That would be all. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Julie. And
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Trustee Spencer. Okay. From middle school, Ms. Girdlestone, who do we have this evening?
Miss Spada.
Mrs. Spada. Mrs. Spada. Well, that's okay. I'm going by what's on the agenda.
Anyway.
I'd like to introduce Emily Hunter for the middle school.
Hi, I'm Em and I'm an 8th grade at Depew Middle School. Recapping the end of December, on the 21st and 22nd, the NJHS students sent virtual holiday cards to teachers around the building. The lead group wrapped up their weekly quizzes, live competitions, and student winners were awarded with Tim Hortons gift cards. Lastly, the Family and Consumer Science Club held a virtual cooking class where students made pretzel treats to share with their families. This month, we have begun and plan to continue other fun activities. To start, this month's character trait is perseverance, which is being highlighted during morning announcements and in all classrooms. This month's Depew voice writing contest is what would happen if we were snowed in and had to spend the night at the school. An exciting prompt with exciting stories to come. Up next, this month's lead activity is a virtual family feud night on the 21st and the 28th. Student council members are also running a cutest pet contest. Pictures of pets are being submitted to the student council and judging will be on the 22nd. Virtual clubs will be running all month and we are encouraging students to participate. Finally, the 29th marks the end of the quarter and the first semester.
ma'am, very nice. Now, Mrs. Kula with Cuba Heights.
I would like to introduce third grader Jameson McLoyne and Chef Hugo's liaison, Mr. Uteg. Want to stand up?
Watch a video.
Hello, boys and girls. Chef Hugo here today. I'm very excited. I have a Cayuga kid as a visitor. Jameson McLoyne, come in, Jameson, come in. Hello to you. Hello.
Hello, Cuba Heights.
Hello. We're doing an update today. What are we doing?
A Board of Education update.
Wait a minute. You're Board of Education? What's wrong with you? What? Jameson.
Chef Hugo, the Board of Education is people who take care of the education.
Oh,
and
they're-
plan the stuff.
Oh, they're volunteers of the school board. That's what you mean, right? Like Mr. Chef and Mr. Spencer and Mrs. Doody and Mr. Bush and Mr. Lamarca, Mr. Law, and Mr. Young. Hello to you, Board of Education. Right, Jameson?
Yeah.
Yep. So the first thing we update is there's winter activity days on January 28th and 29th. What is that, Jameson?
Yeah, when you go outside and do winter activities, but make sure to winter clothes.
Oh, winter clothes, boys and girls, make sure to bring them. Okay, that sounds fun. And then Ronnie's Pizza. You like Ronnie's Pizza?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're doing a fundraiser for Cayuga Heights where they sell coupon books, and then what is the other thing they do?
They sell heart-shaped pizza.
Heart-shaped pizza for Valentine's Day. You can make it all by yourself, right? And you like heart-shaped pizza? I like any kind of pizza, right, boys and girls? Okay, so and then the winter maker mat. What is that? What is
Yes,
that?
you do activities on the mats, and then you bring them back to school.
Okay.
And then you get a book.
A book for a prize, huh? That's nice. And all these materials went home, right, with boys and girls. So, okay, and then last thing, Jameson, on February 22nd, a tentative date will be the 100th day of school, right? So what do we do there?
A big celebration.
A celebration for 100 days in school. So a lot going on at Cuba Heights Elementary, right, Jameson?
Yeah.
You like it here at Cuba Heights Elementary?
Yeah.
I love it here too.
I'll never get bored of education.
You got that right, boy. You're right, Jameson. You're a funny guy. All right. So, okay. So, can we say go Cuba Heights on three?
Sure.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go Cayuga Heights! Mwah! All right.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Jameson. That was
I'll think of
awesome.
Che Lupini in that.
Everybody put that together. That was great. Thank you very much. All right, next order of business. I'd like to do a little board recognition tonight, and special, so hopefully you can hear me through the mask and whatnot. But on behalf of the recommendation from Board of Education member Amy Doody, who couldn't be with us this evening, we will be recognizing 4 of our school community members tonight. Recently, one of our Academy of Finance seniors, Trent Kubiak, reached out to Mrs. Eileen Cartonia, the director of the Academy of Finance, and shared his goal of wanting to really make a difference in his school community. Then, when Audrey Hammernick, an Academy of Finance advisory board member, approached the Academy of Finance with her troop drive and toy collection, Trent Kubiak was the first to volunteer. He made posters and wrapped, painted collection boxes for the troop drive and distributed flyers throughout the local neighborhoods. In addition, when he heard about some of our children who may not have Christmas this year, he rallied his friends, classmates, and family to organize a massive drive in which he was able to collect at least 5 gifts for each of the children on the list. With the help of his mom, Megan Kudas, also our high school nurse, they wrapped and delivered all the gifts to the high school, where they were picked up. We are so very proud of this team's organization, determination, and sense of community. At this time, and on behalf of the entire Board of Education, we would like to present each of you with a certificate of recognition for your dedication to our school community, and thank you very much. Go Wildcats. I'll just come right down there, that'd be easiest. start with the first one I have, and that's Trent. Trent, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Megan's supposed to be up there too.
What's that?
Hi, Megan. I saw you wrapping those presents.
Audrey?
Yes.
Audrey Heming, we have the Board of Education, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Eileen,
Thank you.
always appreciate your hard work.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you so much, appreciate
Did
it.
you want to?
Everyone, pictures. Oh, okay, go ahead, please.
Depew Board of Education, I'd like to thank you for this recognition award tonight. Over the past few years, I've had the honor to work with the Academy of Finance and the students on several community projects. When there is a need for volunteers, these students never cease to amaze me. They take initiative, they are creative, and they are passionate about their work. Now more than ever, we need future leaders that recognize the value of civic engagement. That volunteering is just not about giving your time. It is a way of living, always striving to make a difference in the world around you. Thank you again for this award and for joining me in making positive changes in Depew.
Touch his head.
Thank you.
No.
Really appreciate that. Thank you for your efforts and sense of community, and you see it all over Buffalo. Lamar Jackson's charity, after the Bills game and so forth. It's a great place to live, even during a pandemic. I'd like a presentation from our transportation department. Doug?
You want Chef Hugo to help you out, Doug?
Pardon me?
You want Chef Hugo to help you out?
Yes, please.
I thought he was.
Go after that one.
Take the mask off. No, I'm just kidding. See, it's Chef Hugo.
Hey, just doing a short presentation on how the drivers disinfect the buses daily. If we could just have the first one. This first one here is about.
We're talking about demonstrating today the disinfecting of the buses that we do every day except Wednesday. We do it in the morning, in the AM, and then after the PM runs also. We're using Oxybar, which is the disinfectant that is required, recommended for that. And we just take and we spray the surface with a fine mist, and I'll demonstrate that. And after the mist is on it, we'll walk off the bus and let the bus sit for 5 minutes, and it'll be ready for the next run. So we just take it, we just spray it, just spray everything so that we just put a mist in the air so that it falls out and everything, and we walk out the door and we're good. And after 5 minutes, then we can come back on the bus and the bus will be ready for the next run.
So that there, like I was explaining, we just mist throughout the whole bus so that it contacts everything. Contacts all the seats and everything, and then for the high touch areas, we have wipes for the door handles and coming up on the bus. That's every day. On Wednesday, the next video will be on Wednesdays where we do a deep clean because the drivers have more time because they only transport the diverse learners they have more time to do it. So this one will be done with the Aerex, and it will demonstrate that they actually clean the whole bus, spray the seats, everything, wipe them all down, and it's a full deep clean on
We're going
Wednesday.
to talk about the deep clean that we do once a week, which is on Wednesdays, and we use what's called Spray and Go Aerex, and we actually physically spray the seat and wipe it down with a rag. So it takes a little bit more time, but doing the entire surface of all the seats and anything that gets on it, just wipe it right down, and that we'll do the whole bus. Wednesdays. The drivers will have enough time to do that on a Wednesday because of some of the kids not going on Wednesdays. You only have the diverse learners going on Wednesdays, so the drivers come in and do their deep clean on Wednesdays.
And so the entire bus gets from the front to the back, dash, everything, the doors, the whole.
We're gonna talk about.
The third one, the last video is our buses that we buy are Thomas built buses, and they're the full-size buses. And Thomas came out with a safety feature for the service door, the entrance door, where if a backpack or a student gets caught in the door, that door will sense that in it and will automatically open up where it will not close and grab that backpack or anything. And we have that on our newest bus that we purchased this year and the next 4 that we intend to buy next year if we get it passed.
So now we're going to demonstrate the safety feature here on this bus, on our new bus. The head bus driver is going to prepare to drop me off, and I will walk out and he will close the door on me.
And that,
The door opens up again, automatic releases, and the alarm will sound where it will get the attention of the driver before the driver could go off.
so that's first. The Thomas bus is the first bus that has that. And we got the first one that came out of the factory with that. So it's great for Depew.
Sure. Awesome.
So, any questions?
Any questions? Thanks, Doug, for what you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug.
Keep the kids safe. All right, this is the time in the board meeting agenda when district residents may address the Board of Education with their concerns. Each resident is up to 3 minutes to address the board. A total of 50 minutes will be allowed for each public forum. Jessica, do we have any questions via email?
Yes, we do. Drew, may I please have the mic?
We have some questions, 3 questions.
Okay, so I have received several inquiries in regards to, the first one's from Natalie. Actually, let me just make sure this. Yeah, first one's from Natalie. She would like to know the status of getting our elementary students in school more frequently. She has a kindergartner or a Cayuga who cries almost every day from headaches due to being on the device, iPad too much during the shutdown. Questions are, what about all the research supporting that too much screen time is harmful for our kids? I hope the district is taking this concern seriously because we do not even know the tip of the iceberg of how it's going to affect our children long term. Please get these children back to school more ASAP. 1, 2, 3, another 4 of them are about the same thing. I'd like the idea of starting a rotation of students coming into school on Wednesdays. A through L would come Monday, Wednesday, Thursday for 1 week, and then M through Z would come in on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday the following week. And that's from Andrea.
Okay, I can go ahead and respond. Are they all the same topic?
Scott, Scott, again, adding a day. The hybrid learner schedule. Concerned parent. Yes,
Okay.
another one again. Why are our children not in school more or the very least in school every other Wednesday?
Yep, I can address all those. I was planning for that. So just to reiterate the reason that we identified the hybrid schedule that we have, including the virtual Wednesdays. First of all, the Department of Health set out very strict standards back in the summer about the amount of students that we can have in one classroom because we have to separate them 6 feet apart with masks. Initially, when the guidance came out, it was masks or 6 feet, which we we felt that we were going to be able to bring in all the students back full-time in the classrooms. And when they added that and to that statement, we had to change our plans. We did have a reopening planning committee made up of parents, teachers, administrators, support staff, and some students. And we looked at different models. We did look at a model that rotated Wednesdays, but that met with some resistance from all constituencies, including parents, because of the inconsistency of when students would be in school. 1 week it would be 2 days, next week it would be 3 days, and they felt that daycare would be a significant issue for parents across the district. So let me kind of talk a little bit about, specifically about Wednesdays. So the design of Wednesdays are necessary for teachers to connect with all students at once in a remote environment, and then use the second half of the day to plan and meet individually with students who are in need of assistance. The modified environment that teachers are teaching in is like no other and allows them the extra time to collaborate, plan, and prepare videos for asynchronous lessons. This was negotiated with the teachers for this purpose. This was also specifically developed and laid out by our reopening planning committee, as I mentioned, which has been widely supported by all constituencies. And the plan specifically details about Wednesdays, virtual learning from home for all students, social and emotional check-in with all students in classes through Schoology, all teachers available for live virtual student Q&A at designated times throughout every Wednesday. Teachers will be available for parents to contact them about questions, concerns they might have with learning, such as office hours. All schools will follow a modified schedule and identify diverse learners. Students with disabilities, English language learners, and at-risk learners will be coming in for face-to-face learning in that modified setting. Middle school and high school's virtual schedule ends at 11:18, and then Cuga's virtual schedule ends at 12:05, with some specials at Cuga still occurring in the afternoons. Some elementary specials, as I mentioned, are remote in the afternoon due to the scheduling needs, and the rest of the students, the afternoon is reserved for, but not limited to, any of the following: student conferences, parent conferences, MTS, IEP, English language learner and 504 meetings, professional learning for leaders and teachers, and instructional and collaborative planning. Teachers have the opportunity to provide targeted support to specific students that are struggling. Furthermore, due to this modified teaching and learning plan, professional development has been minimal, and Wednesdays provide opportunities for teachers to meet in order to review curriculum and address learning gaps that they are seeing. For our special education population, Wednesday afternoons have been used to schedule therapy sessions, OT, PT, speech, in an effort to reduce the time students are being pulled out of class when they are in attendance. It is also used for special education teachers to meet with small groups of students for remediation, reteaching, and accomplishing various IEP goals. This is especially beneficial in the middle school and high school when students can no longer meet with a teacher after school for reinforcement, homework helpers, or review. In addition, the time that Wednesdays provides our buildings and grounds crews is vital in addressing those high-touch areas that are not as easily accessible when students are in the building. Several key areas are fully sanitized during Wednesdays. Student and teacher burnout is real. At the end of the school year, this model will end up being more effective and efficient towards student learning, as it significantly takes into account the social and emotional being of all parties. If parents do have issues with regard to screen time or other concerns with their particular learning model, they need to reach out to the teacher first, and then still, if they have some questions, certainly feel free to contact any one of the building administrators. I have been surveying building administrators about parent feedback, and we have not had any calls from parents about concerns with the virtual Wednesdays. So if you have some concerns or questions, please reach out to the building administrators at your earliest convenience. Thank you.
Are there any others?
No.
Thank you, Dr. Raby. And thank you for asking the questions, those of you at home. We appreciate your interest and your concern. And by all means, if you follow up with the teachers and with the building administrators, we'd love to hear Our consent agenda is next. May I now have a motion of the Board of Education upon recommendation of the superintendent to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Second, anyone? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Just want to recognize Stephanie Serrano. I don't know if she's here tonight.
Right there, in the
Hey,
back.
hi.
Stephanie,
Okay.
welcome.
You're appointed the Tenor Area Music Teacher. I think you knew that already, right? Welcome. Look forward to great things from you. Back when we get to normal and whatnot. Okay, back to the public forum. This again is the time of the board meeting agenda when the residents may address the Board of Education with their concerns. Each resident is up to 3 minutes to address the board. A total of 50 minutes will be allowed for each public forum. Are there any other questions? Jessica?
No.
No other questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Comments and remarks by board members. Let's go first. Nick? Trustee Lamarck, I should say.
Just a couple things regarding from the public forum. One, first off, no one thinks the teachers and staff isn't working hard more than me. I know teachers and staff are working very hard in an unprecedented environment. I do have some concerns regarding what you said though, Dr. Raby. I've read, I'm a licensed New York State mental health counselor, and I have read paper after study saying that more time in school is more beneficial. I am also kind of curious what data that you actually have from all the constituents that's saying that everyone's in favor of it, that there aren't issues with it. I mean, I'm seeing all of this from a bunch of different lenses. I work in a hospital, I'm a parent, I'm on the school board, obviously. I have a wife whose employment was affected by it. I have kids that are in school, so I see it from a lot of different angles. And from what my personal opinion, what I've seen is what they lack from not being in school on Wednesdays, at least every other Wednesday, is detrimental to them. I know kids a lot of times will say, well, less school, great. And I'm sure a lot of us saw that maybe with our kids at the beginning of all this. Me personally, for my kids and my friends' kids, they're very excited when they're in school and they're very frustrated when they're not in school on a bunch of different levels. It socially impacts them, it educationally impacts them, and I know that we're trying to meet the needs, or we are doing a very good job, this faculty is doing a very good job of meeting the needs of the students that need additional assistance, the IEP kids, and along those lines. But then I feel we're running the risk of the kids who don't necessarily get those services of falling too far behind and not being challenged. And I know we're unprecedented, and I know student burnout, and I know teacher burnout can be a real thing. And believe me, I'm seeing the burnout. Everybody's burned out. Nobody is not burned out by this. I mean, we've been in this, we're coming up on a year now. I mean, if you look back at, I know a lot of people have Facebook, you look back at your news feed, you're just starting to hear about some strange virus in China last year at this time. So we've all been in this for a year. So everybody's in burnout. Nobody is spared from the burnout. I just think it's a discussion we need to have. I mean, I do commend for all the town halls and the meetings that you had at the beginning of all of this. When you guys all developed the plan to go forward in this. But that was almost a year ago now.
But nothing's changed.
Lots has changed.
No, nothing's changed. The regulations are still in effect.
But the regulations don't stop us from having students every other Wednesday.
But if you have students every other Wednesday, full-time, where does the time come from for all of the other activities that we've been doing on Wednesdays?
I'm just asking the questions.
And I'm responding.
So maybe that is something that needs to be further looked into. Maybe it isn't possible. I am more than willing to be outvoted. If it's not even something to vote, I'm more than willing to be convinced that I'm wrong based on actual facts and not anecdotes. But I don't think everyone's concerns is necessarily being taken into consideration. You said, well, nobody's called, nobody's emailed. Obviously some people had some concerns. And a lot of times people, especially in this situation, are so overwhelmed with everything that's going on
sending an email to the district or sending an email to the administrators isn't gonna be top of their list. I just think this is something that maybe need to be looked at a little bit more thoroughly. I don't feel it is, that's just my opinion.
Can I chime in on the other side? I teach full-time also, and in my district, we don't have school at all on Wednesdays, it's all planning. This year is probably the hardest I've ever worked in my life. I'm really teaching 3 groups of kids. Those are in school, those that are not at school at all, and those that are in school, but they're not there that day. So you're as teachers, we're trying to come up with 3 different lessons almost every day to teach everybody. If you have no time to do that at all during the day, there's no way that's gonna be done, excuse me, effectively. So that's just from a side note.
And that's a good example of another model, because that is another model that's out there, is where kids just come Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, nothing Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nothing Friday. We wanted to do something that was in the middle, where it was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, half day remotely on Wednesday. So there's still that full engagement with every single student on Wednesday. And then allow for that time to do all those other activities so that we can be effective on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
And the Wednesdays I feel is better than the days that they're home and they don't get any instruction. So like the days that they're not at school, Wednesdays is way better than
I mentioned that.
them not getting any time with the teacher at all. So that's my 2 cents.
What I guess I would say, what is this, my 6th, 7th year on the board? And one thing that we've learned to always consider is the unintended consequences of a good idea. Nick, your idea, and that these people, their idea is good. And it might not necessarily be a bad thing if we do it. The problem is the unintended consequences over what will amount to 8 days of school. At this point, we're talking 8 days of school for the remainder of the year. So I think it's something that we definitely could talk about, hot wash it if you prefer. I mean, we certainly could look at it, but by the time we made this change, we'd be talking 6 days of school. I know we looked at this exhaustively. I do worry about how we handle the intervention type stuff, especially because, my granddaughter's had a couple of those sessions on the Wednesdays. So what that means is she gets pulled out of class on Monday or Thursday. So that's not necessarily a great thing either. I hear you on having them in school. It's definitely a better thing. But I will tell you this, anecdotally, I kind of liked it better, kind of going off what's that, and I felt the days where they were every day online were a little more structured for than that. It's a little of this, a little of that. I think the teachers and the kids and parents are doing a great job. The one thing I've heard negative about the 3rd day opposite is most daycares will make you pay for 3 days each week, whether you go 3 days each week. So that's the big negative I've heard. I haven't heard a lot of negative other than that parent-wise. And that obviously certain people want structure in their life. So the babysitter wants to say, I'll be there Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever, but I won't be there Tuesday, Friday 1 week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday the other. Those are the only things I've heard back. So just one thing to keep in mind is the biggest problem I see is I don't know if the change at this point will have the desired effect because we're so late in the game. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. It's just there's going to be consequences of any change we make. So that's all.
If I'm not mistaken, if you could confirm this for me, I read that agreement that the DPU had to sign off on.
Yeah, we negotiated with the teachers, administrators.
And I guess maybe the question to that is, Jeff, what would we have to renegotiate it if we change?
We'd have to rediscuss it, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm understanding that there's layers to it.
Yeah, I didn't even get into that. That's another unintended consequence.
It
seems easy, but it might not be easy down the road.
And that was discussed all summer, in our planning meetings, specifically obviously with our teacher, group, because they get most affected as far as labor relations wise. And we looked at the different models, like Todd was talking about. And one of the questions was, we talked about Wednesdays. One of the questions was, well, could we work from home on Wednesdays? And the insistence on the district's part was, no, we're coming in because we want to bring in our diverse learners on Wednesdays. And also we want to be able to engage with all of the learners that were home at once as part of that classroom. And we wanted that to be done distraction-free. So we insisted on that piece. So it was one of those things. I know there are a couple districts that are doing a 10-day rotation. And some districts are doing an 8-day rotation over 2 weeks. And we felt that this was the middle of the road. It was supported by the committee, and we had positive feedback throughout all of the forums and have not had any concerns brought to our attention since then. And as Pat pointed out, and I just did a little math too, even if this was to flip over, it would be an extra 8 days for a particular student from now until the end of June.
Yeah, I figured 2 a month,
Yep,
basically.
yep.
I definitely am aware that there are a lot of unintended consequences, and it's a very complicated, multifaceted issue. Again, with my background as mental health counselor for multiple years, including working with kids as young as 13 and up, I disagree that the 8 days wouldn't be valuable. I'm also well aware that it was negotiated with teachers union. Again, I am in no way saying teachers and administrators aren't working their 4 points of contact off. I know they're working hard. I love my kids' teachers very much. I think they're doing a great job, and I know a bunch of other teachers are doing a great job. But I've come to learn personally since March, being neck deep in this, working at hospitals, there's just no easy answers to the way to go. And I know, obviously, the model that we went with, I believe, has flaws. Does that necessarily mean it's wrong? No. Does every other Wednesday solve everything? Absolutely not. I mean, I think I can probably speak for most people saying that everyone wishes that our kids were in school 5 days a week and we weren't sitting here in masks and we didn't have little plexiglass things in there. But that's just not the world we live in right now. So I thought it was important enough to raise it. I know other people had concerns, and like I said, I sit on the school board and my wife's in the PTO, and I try to be involved in my kids' education, and with everything going on, I'll be honest with you, one of the last things I'm thinking about is sending a message to Mrs. Kudlar or Mrs. Fatter. Not because I don't want to, but because there's about 90 other things going on during the day, and by the time we think of it, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and we're trying to get the kids in bed and maybe watch something on Netflix for a little while. So, I mean, I get it. I just think it's an issue that should have been addressed, or it should be addressed, or should be at least talked about. On the table. Thanks, Dave.
I appreciate the discourse, back and forth. That's what this is for. Share our ideas and our points of view. So, wrong idea. There's no, we're not looking for, who's right and who's wrong necessarily. We want to do what's best for the district, what's best for the kids. So, going into this, we didn't know, everything. Who could? We still don't know everything. But I think it's good fun, good discussion to have going forward, and things to keep, on the table and discussions, and see where we go, let's hope we're not in this next year. Let's put it that way.
Can I ask another question, not related?
You may.
So, Jeff, obviously they had the budget presentation for the state today. So it looks like worst case scenario is $6 million gap, hopefully better. Billion dollar gap. All dependent on federal aid.
Yes.
What's your understanding of the timeline, how it's gonna affect us setting our budget?
I think we'll still be in good shape, because the budget, by law, he hasn't missed a deadline yet, which is April 1st. Since that's one positive thing, from the governor. Right now, he hasn't missed, one deadline for getting his budget passed. I saw the presentation today. We're waiting for budget runs, from our group. Hopefully we'll have that tomorrow, and when we meet again in February, we should have a really good picture of levy set and of what we're looking at for aid. And that also will give the new administration at the federal level a good chunk of time to put together a stimulus package that we'll be able to take a look at. Watching the budget director from the state today present, he got asked that question by one of the reporters, and he said from his contacts at the federal level, he feels very confident we're gonna see something above the $6 billion. So some 15 billion, we're good. So he thinks we're gonna see something between the 6 and the 15, which will help us significantly. That goes from a 20% reduction in what we were anticipating in state aid down to something like 5 or lower, which we'll be able to swing that. So we should have runs hopefully by the end of the week.
And I assume we're gonna set the budget kind of similarly dependent on aid levels, right?
Yep, just like same
Just like we
format,
did
we always, same format we always do.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Good question.
Speaking of political stuff, anybody get the survey from Erie County School Boards, please send your legislative ideas in. With the situation that we are in, we're gonna have to make sure that we have some input into our legislators and senators and such, even up to the federal level, to try to get money that we gotta work for, so.
Any other comments or remarks by anyone? Go ahead.
Just one last thing that I meant to touch on. The students that did the troop drive, thank you. Being a veteran myself, I can tell you how much that those little gift packages from home or from school kids, they do matter. They will all appreciate them. So personally, I thank you very much for that.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say hello to Trustee Amy Duty, who's at home to be with us tonight. Miss having you here, Amy, and we'll see you next month. I have a motion now to adjourn the meeting, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching us on